You're here! Hi everyone! I am Mrs. Gardner and I get to be your STEAM teacher this summer school and this whole, 3 weeks we get to spend together. I'm so excited we get to have some time for science, we get to have some time for, do you know what STEAM stands for? Science, technology, engineering, art, mathematics. We're going to be intermixing all of these subjects together, and I'm excited to have you with us. So welcome to my classroom. I want to show you first a little bit about my classroom. We've been working on it, we've been building it. We've been trying to make this shelter to be our filming studio so we can put all of our videos together. Have a look at some changes we've made to the building so that way it's better for us. Look up here, the first one. It gets really hot over here. You see how we put this shade up? There's some space in between the shade and the building, so that way when the sun comes down, it hits the shade instead of the building, so it actually keeps us cooler. Come on in. Hey friends, you got a bottle to take home, didn't you? I want you to go ahead and get out your notebook, and I want you to have a look at your own bottle. I want you to look inside and see if you can write down any evidence of what is inside. What organisms do you see inside the bottle? Do you see a plant? Do you see an animal? Do you think there might be organisms in here you can't see? Can you take a guess what species is in the bottle? Can you take a guess? What are the needs of the species in this bottle? What does it need to survive? Does it have everything it needs to survive? Take a minute and I want you to write down what do you notice and what questions do you wonder looking inside your bottle of water. This water bottle functions as a complete environment for this snail. The snail has its own house. It has a shell on its back, and that shell functions to keep it safe. It's a shelter, right? It's hard, it's like a shield. So if you're going to the house of the snail, you would visit the shell, but the whole environment that this species lives in is completely underwater. This snail might come up to the surface of the water, but not for very long. It doesn't need to breathe air necessarily. These plants are producing oxygen, right? As we have sun that comes in and these plants soak up all that sunlight, they are making oxygen for the snail to breathe. The snail has water. The snail can munch on the plant. It can even munch on the bacteria or the algae that's in the water itself. All of the resources that this snail needs to grow are all within this bottle. We always need something to survive. Me, I need Pop-Tarts. What do you need to survive? So in my house, to survive, I have a roof over my head and it protects me from the sun, the rain, the wind. I have a refrigerator and it has all of the other food resources I need. I have a well on our property with water, so I get water when I need it. What are some of your needs? What do you think? What do you need? Humans, to survive and to grow. You know, kids, if you don't eat, you don't grow, right? Do your parents tell you that? If you want to get big and strong, you got to drink a glass of milk or you got to finish all your dinner. So what do you need to survive? Humans need water. We need food. We need safety. We'll say shelter, because shelter keeps us safe. We need shelter to keep us safe from the weather. What about another species, though? We said the snail. The snail, they have some needs, too. Let's see. I'm looking at the bottle, and they definitely need water. And I think they need food. And I guess since they carry it with them everywhere, they need shelter. Have a look at that. We have two different species. We have snails and we have humans, but we have the same kind of needs. We have different things that function to support those needs. A snail has a shell for its shelter. Ha. Shelter. Ha. And then humans, we have houses or apartments, or if we're going camping, we have tents or maybe a tree house. We have shelter that's made out of a different resource, but it still functions in the same way. My body has basic functions too. My body has to digest food. So does the snail. My body has to sleep. I actually don't know if snails sleep. But I bet they have to rest. They're not running around all day. Have you seen a snail running around all day? No, because they probably need to rest. They have basic functions that help them survive. So, we understand how to survive as humans. Would you know how to survive as a snail? I want you to imagine that you could shrink down to the size of a snail. What would your needs be? I don't have a shell on my back, so I definitely need to find some shelter. Maybe I'll find a big shell that I'll squeeze into like a hermit crab. How are you going to find your food? How are you going to have access to these resources? There are different variations in snails. I imagine a small snail, a baby snail, would have different needs than maybe a larger snail. Maybe there's variations in species. I mean, just because I'm going down to the size of a snail doesn't mean that I have the same needs. They vary. They change. So when we do our project today, you ready for a project? I want you to think about, if I shrunk down to the size of a snail, would my needs stay the same? Would my needs change? What would I need so I don't get stepped on by a giant dog running down the sidewalk?